Hey everybody, we're back again here. It's Under Mike. It's Wednesday, early AM. I think we're about 12:45 in the morning here. Looking ahead at some games, checking the weather. Um, we have a hurricane coming in on the Florida coast and making its way up the coast. So I've been looking into that and seeing if any games could be affected by this as we go through the week and weekend. So first, I just wanted to give a little bit of an analysis, a look back of our previous week's bets. Now I know this is my first week here, but just wanted to quickly go over some of the highlights of my last week. First would be the Oregon State-Washington game from last Friday in Seattle. That was a pretty bad forecast all along. I got in on it on, I think it was Monday. It was 60.5, under 60.5 on Monday. That total dipped to 53.5 by the game on Friday night. And that's one of the things that I mentioned in the intro. You got to bet it early. You get the good number. In this case, it didn't matter. The game did stay under what it ended at, under the 53.5. Even though the weather actually did change. The forecast did change a bit as we got closer, and the weather moved out of Seattle a little bit before the game started. With the gap I had there, I actually tried to middle it. It didn't work out. I don't usually try to do that, but with the forecast change, I did. But ultimately, it was still an under, and that's the beauty of this stuff is, even if the forecast isn't 100% right, if you bet it early, the game, you still have a 50% chance of getting the under, but you have that edge based off the forecast. And like I said, usually just about every game that I'm playing on here, that total is going to end up lower than when I bet it. So definitely an advantage for us. Another good example, a big win from last week was the Ohio State Northwestern game. That I jumped in at under 61.5. I believe it was Tuesday. The total dropped to, I think, 55.5, if I remember correctly. And we all, what did it end at? 21.7. So yeah, not even close. Another big one that I gave out to a couple people was the Maryland-Wisconsin game. That was probably my biggest bet of the day. That one was 51.5. I think it ended at about 49.5 by Saturday, and that one went well under as well. And that was the one where I saw that system. I kept checking the models, and it was never really varying from that system, wrapping right up there in that Madison area in Wisconsin, and there was terrible wind there the whole day. It was probably 20, 25, sometimes more. And so yeah, that one hit easily. Those are just a couple of the highlights from last week. I ended up going 10-2 for the week. So that's what we're about here. Some weeks it's going to be boring. No weather. No issues. But as we get, this time of year, there tends to be a lot of bigger storm systems, and you get one big storm system coming up the coast, or in the middle of the country, the Big Ten area. It can affect a lot of games. So it can get busy on the college side, especially. The NFL side, it's usually you might get a couple games with the same system, and that's about it. But that's what I'm here for. I'll keep you all posted and check it out. Check out the good advantages that we have here. So right now, let's get to it. all I'm really looking at right now is this hurricane, and that's hurricanes are a bit of a challenge. They're very, they can move one way 50 miles, and it could completely change the weather forecast. So I don't usually go big early on those. This one could possibly affect the Thursday night NFL game. Carolina is at home against Atlanta in Charlotte. It's a very close forecast. This is probably not the best one to start these videos on, but right now the over-under that I had was 44.5. The storm system, the models I'm showing, the rain's probably going to start about when the game starts. The Euro model has it starting a little bit earlier. The GFS, which is usually a little bit less reliable than the Euro, has it starting a little bit later. Wind-wise, it's, 10, 12, nothing that's going to be crazy. But, when you add a little bit of wind and a little bit of rain, things can be a little bit more difficult in the throwing, kicking games and that stuff. So I put a little bit on it right now just to see the if you look at your weather apps, it shows rain, it shows Thursday night rain, heavy at times. So the average person will look at that and may just, it's going to be horrible, let's bet under. I'm not like that. I got to look at the models a little bit more. And with these type of storms, the hurricanes, like I said, you really don't know. I'm not going to have a good idea until tomorrow afternoon, probably. And the rain events, if it does speed up a little bit and you get a pretty good rain event there, that's going to be something that even where the number's at before game time, an hour or two before, you'll see if that's going to happen or not. And if it happens, you got to pound that under. So right now, I'm just taking it lightly, a small bet on the under, because I think the number could get pushed down a little bit. Not much, though. I don't think it's going to get pushed down too much. You also have to consider these teams played each other a couple weeks ago and scored a ton of points. That could lead a lot of people to be, with this number at 44.5, they scored, what did they score, 60, 70 points the last time? It was in a dome, nothing to worry about. People might look at that number, just immediately bet the over. So I don't think this number is going to go crazy. I think it's going to stay about where it's at. Maybe if the forecast worsens a little bit, it might drop a point, but we'll have to see how that goes. But right now, where I bet it was at 44.5 on MGM. This was a couple hours ago. I got a bit delayed with the videos tonight, but DK, Barstool, Bet Rivers were all 44, Fox 43.5, FanDuel 43.5. MGM was sitting at 44.5, so I took that for a small bet and just kind of seeing what happens. And then if the storm speeds up, I'm gonna, drop a big number on that, as we get closer and really know the forecast better. But I'll check back in tomorrow with some more updates, as we try to figure out this storm and what's going to happen. As for the rest of the college games, there's really nothing exciting going on weather-wise this week. Saturday games don't look to be much affected by this storm. I think this storm's going to probably shoot up pretty quickly up the coast. And as I said, it's a little bit unpredictable. I'll check back tomorrow and have some more updates. As I saw now, there isn't really anything. Other than that, besides the storm, it looks like there's some wind in the Midwest, northern areas, Michigan, Wisconsin, but it doesn't look like anything near like they had last weekend. The only one that's kind of close to where I'd consider it is the Illinois game in Champaign, Illinois. It looks like, I think the latest I seen was 15 to 16 miles per hour. I'm not going to play anything yet on that. It usually takes about 17 to 18 mile per hour winds before I really start to look at it and probably throw a bet on it. I know it doesn't seem like much, but you got to have that cutoff. 15 to 16 you can throw through, and once you get into that 17, 18, gusts to 20, 24, or 23, whatever it may be, it starts to get a little more difficult. So that's kind of what I look for there. But yeah, so nothing, not putting anything on any college games yet, but I'll check back in tomorrow with any updates to this forecast for the storm coming in, and we'll go from there. But throw a little bit on the Atlanta and Carolina under right now, but let's see if we want to drop more on it tomorrow or Thursday. That's it for now, and I'll see you all tomorrow.